Shalom, first and foremost, only of all praises to the Heavenly Father and His only begotten Son, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakakadash. Double honor to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, and peace, love, and salutation to all your occupants pushing this truth and true sincerity. Now, this is Ecclesiastes chapter 21 and 15. If a skillful man hear a wise word, he will commend it and add unto it. But as soon as one of no understanding heareth it, it displeaseth him, and he casteth it behind his back. This is a skillful adding lesson to a couple lessons that I saw today. You have be mindful of oversharing on social media, wise as a serpent, from Elder Yashawamba, Remnant Save 144. And then the skillful adding lesson, the land back lesson from the brother Kadasha in Chicago, GMS Wise as Serpents. That's Spirit. Wow. That's the name of his page, GMS Wise as Serpents, skillful adding be calculated with your words. And the lesson from Elder Yashawamba went into being wise as a serpent and what you put on social media, because he did say in the lesson that this platform of YT is social media. So you went into being wise with your words, because we're in that time, basically Esau using his AI. And I believe it was this brother right here in Chicago that did a lesson on how Esau was twisting up brother's words in one of his lessons. So we're in that time most definitely, because Esau, he's most definitely at his end. And one of the things that I've gained from watching both these lessons is just to be in the spirit of teaching. We get into that spirit sometimes of just ranting. You might have had a bad day, especially here being in hell, being in Babylon. But we have to remember to be teachers, all right? We have to teach the word, all right? Matter of fact, I'm going to get that one in 2 Timothy. It's the 2 Timothy 4, if I'm not mistaken. 2 Timothy 4 and 1. I charge thee therefore before the Most High and the Lord Yahweh Shai Mashiach, who shall judge the quick and the dead at his appearing in his kingdom. Preach the word, be instant in season, out of season, reprove, rebuke, exhort with all long suffering and doctrine. And that's what we're here to do. We're here to teach and preach the words of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. All right. It says, verse 3, for the time will come when they will not endure sound doctrine. And we're starting to see that. This is the year of apostates, agents, and sellouts. And our people need to hear the truth more and more. They don't need to hear our, vain opinions, as it were, according to Sirach 3 and 24. Because you can easily just go on a rant. You can easily, like the brother Kadasha from Chicago said, easily not finish off the precept. It says, for the time will come when they will not endure sound doctrine, but after their own lust shall they heap to themselves teachers having itching ears. All right, you got a lot of people in Israel that just want to hear what they want to hear. But there's a remnant that's desiring the truth. They want to hear these words and they want to be edified. Matter of fact, I'm thinking about another precept. And they shall turn away their ears from the truth and shall be turned to fables. But for the ones that don't want to hear the fables and falsehoods, this is what we're in the spirit of doing. And we have to keep reminding ourselves what we're in this for. And it's also a word that goes with Apostle Gabar's page, 2 Corinthians 14 and 26. Excuse me. Give me one sec. Excuse me. 1 Corinthians 14. Salaki. 1 Corinthians 14 and 26. 1 Corinthians 14:26, how is it, brethren, when you come together, every one of you have a song, have a doctrine, have a tongue, have a revelation, have an interpretation. Let all things be done and to edifying. All right, let's get this word edifying. And this is just one of the things that has to be reminded when you teach. Now, some brothers are, more forward than others, but the main point is to edify, because you're going to have the Israelite foreigners that's going to come in and inquire this word and basically, get edified.
Strong's G 3619, oikadame. Oikadame.
Right, oikadame. Metaphor, edifying, edification, the act of one who promotes another's growth. Because this is what it's about. Growth. Well, Salaki for the dog. He's just out the chain when he hears the doorbell. Let me give him a sec. He off the chain. But anyways, the act of one who promotes another's growth in Christian wisdom, piety, happiness, holiness. So this thing is about growth. And one thing the brother Kasadia did say, you don't want to plateau in this truth. Reminds me of a lesson that Bishop Atazawam and our church did about many years ago about not plateauing this truth. All right, you want to go from faith to faith in this ministry. All right, you want to edify, and this goes first and foremost to myself, because sometimes I can get a little carried away and go into another topic. So we, as a whole, as teachers and leaders, had to get into the spirit of being in the spirit of edifying more. All right, because we got more believers coming in the way. We got more believers coming as far as this doctrine, man. All right, and what I want to bring a quick definition is a definition of rant. All right, because you can do a righteous rant. So I want to bring out this definition, but you want to make sure you don't do this. A rant is a long, loud, and often angry speech or piece of writing where someone complains or expresses strong opinions, usually in a disorganized or emotional way. We want to make sure we're not overly emotional. There's nothing wrong with showing emotions, but just being overly emotional and not, speaking from your own mind instead of speaking from the scriptures, and then just being overly angry. The scriptures do say anger resteth in the bosom of fools. So you want to make sure when you do these lessons, which I've been guilty of it before, being overly angry. There you go again. All right, it's off the chain. Doing what he's supposed to do. It said a rant is a long, loud, and often angry speech. And like I said, there's nothing wrong with doing righteous rants. It's just, if you go on 5 minutes on a rant with no precepts, that's not edifying. And we have to make sure that we're building the listeners up. Now, like Elder Yashawam was saying in his lesson, there's a lot of bug outs that subscribe to your page. Don't get all wooed because you got 500, 600, 7,000 subscribers. There's a lot of bots and a lot of bug outs and a lot of weirdos on your page. But for those that's just sincere, you have to make sure you're in the spirit of edifying. All right. So just one more precept, 2 more precepts actually. This is Proverbs 3 and 5. Trust in the Lord with all thy heart and lean not unto thy own understanding. Because it's easy to go on a rant, without no scriptures. It just, the best thing to do really is, in some lessons, what I've heard from elders, especially elders in my camp, get you 3 precepts, get your definition, and there you go. That's your lesson. And then the spirit will guide you to where you're doing more precepts. You might be doing some research in the lesson, things of that nature. Like the Israelite foreigners. That's always a good topic to go into. All right, because you're going to have Israelites that don't look like traditional so-called black people. You know, you got to get into the mark of the beast. That's you can always do a topic on that. Going into charagma, charax, grapho, you know, Kaisai stigma, those topics, the breakdowns, you know, the tribes. You can never go wrong with breaking down the 12 tribes of Israel. All right, that's being apt to teach. That's the last precept I'm gonna get. But you have to trust in the Lord, and who the Lord is set up to, teach us this wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, which are the apostles and elders of great millstone. They're excellent examples of teaching His word, as well as elders in your camp. I know elders in my camp are really skillful in teaching. You know, when I watch their lessons, they don't go into rants and, use their emotions. Verse 6, and all that ways acknowledge Him, and He shall direct thy steps. And that also goes into prayer. Also, I believe I did a lesson on how to. It was like a month ago. Saying a prayer before you start a lesson. You can never go wrong with that. All right, you can never go wrong. It's on my page, but you can never go wrong with that. You can come up with your own prayers. Starting up lessons. You can also pray to the Lord to give you the spirit to feed His elect, to give you the spirit to edify the elect. There's totally nothing wrong with that. All right, but what I got this land back is just basically off of making sure these lessons are edifying. It's cool to get on the woman every now and then, but I mean, I want to get this precept in that Revelation 22:11. Let the filthy be filthy still. It's cool to get on ninjas and stuff like that, but the main thing is edifying. You can never go wrong with breaking down these strongholds of Catholicism and Christianity, so on and so forth. So I want to get this last precept in 2 Timothy 2:24. And the servant of the Lord must not strive, but be gentle unto all men, apt to teach, patient. It says a servant of the Lord must not quarrel, but must be kind to everyone. And it is a point where you got to send somebody out the block. That's good. That's fine and dandy, because there's nothing wrong with dismissing somebody, but everything is just done in balance. It says be able to teach. You have to be able to teach these subjects. And if you're lacking on it, that's something you might have to pray on it, like it says in James. Matter of fact, let's just bring out this one in James before we get back to that one. And that's what comes with growth, realizing, 144, realizing where you lacking at. If you're lacking in the tribes, you can, as simple as going to YouTube and typing up GMS tribe of Manasseh, GMS tribe of Benjamin, GMS tribe of Gad, GMS Revelation 13, so on and so forth. All right, because we had the truth. The Christian church is not going to break down Genesis 49th chapter, man. It's just how it goes. James 1:5. If any of you lack wisdom, let him ask of the Most High. All right, if you're lacking in a certain subject, pray to the Lord to give you the understanding. That giveth to all men liberally. Those all men are Israelites, especially ones who's preaching this sound doctrine, and upbraideth not, and it shall be given him. But let him ask in faith, and have faith that the Lord will answer your prayer, nothing wavering, for he that wavereth is like a wave of the sea, driven with the wind and tossed. So as simple as asking the Lord, to add certain subjects, to your teaching capabilities. And everybody has different teaching capabilities and different levels of teaching. But we want to make sure that we're growing, because there's certain subjects I need to get better at, while we still here, So let me go back to that 2 Timothy and close it on out. 2 Timothy 2:24, and the servant of the Lord must not strive, but be gentle unto all men, apt to teach, patient. All right, let's get this word apt to teach. All right, so let's get this word apt to teach.
Strong's G 1317. Didacticas. Didacticas.
All right, Dr. Costa says apt and skillful in teaching. All right, being skillful in teaching according to your ability, not another brother's. I mean, you can learn certain things from different brothers, but you have to be your own man in your own spirit and be your own skillful teacher. You know. So let's finish this out. It says 2 Timothy 2:25, in meekness instructing those that oppose themselves, if the Most High peradventure will give them repentance to the acknowledging of the truth, and that you may recover themselves out of the snare of the devil, who are taken captive by him at his will. In the NLT it says, gently instruct those who oppose the truth. Perhaps the Most High will change those people's hearts, and they will learn the truth. Yeah, through edification, because nobody's bringing out edification out here. You know, there's a lot of copycats out here too. A lot of you guys, I seen one guy's page. I see you guys will start to say land backing. You guys will start to say small hats. Where'd you get that from? The apostles and elders, a great millstone, and the men on down. A lot of you guys are just copycats, man. The great millstone is the camp that's edifying when it comes to these scriptures. All right. And the John 5:39, it says to search the scriptures. And when you have to search the scriptures, like the brother Kadasha from Chicago said, you got to read more. You know what I'm saying? You got to go into these topics and these lessons. All right, to edify the flock, because there's going to be a lot of men, women, and children who watch your videos and get edified. All right, it says gently instruct those who oppose the truth. Perhaps the Most High will change those people's hearts, and they will learn the truth. Then they will come to their senses and escape from the devil's trap, for they have been held captive by him to do whatever he wants. So, you know, Lord willing, this lesson is edifying, just laying backing off these two videos. Also, you know, being calculated with your words and your speech. You know, you can also go into vocabulary, looking up different words that's synonymous with this word. You know, adding to your vocabulary like the apostles and elders teach us to look up words. So with that, Lord willing, I was edifying. And I want to say shalom.